I just got home last night after being gone for 33 days. I drove from California back to Texas to spend the month with my kids and our family and friends. And while I was there, I left Rebel with my daughters and I went to an event that I have been attending since 2013. It's an annual event that is hosted by the company that I partnered with back in 2012. And while I was there, I was able to take in a lot of information. And I'll tell you, when I went to this event last, there was so much new information and I walked away feeling absolutely overwhelmed. And the funny thing is my friend Christina Battaglia says that the O word is not allowed in her team. And it's something that's thrown around a lot by me and by other people. And what I found is when you're overwhelmed, you tend to find something that you can just kind of numb yourself to. Well, everybody knows to stop drinking. So I don't have that. And what I realized after coming away from this event and having a lot of time to digest what I learned there and comparing it to what was different the last time, because I didn't want to have the same thing happen. I realized that as I've gotten more overwhelmed with life, we moved from Texas to California. There's been a lot of changes. My stepson came to live with us for the first time ever. There was just a lot of things that I felt super overwhelmed about. And then that's when I started turning to Netflix. It was so easy to just Netflix and numb your mind and don't have to think about anything. And what's funny is while I was at this event, I was with one of my girlfriends that is one of the top coaches on our team. And I heard her tell the story over and over and over again about how I used to be, what our team used to be like, that we were on fire, that I used to host calls with, hundreds of people on there. I was speaking on people's calls all the time. And she really painted this picture of who I used to be. And it was, I don't know if it was purposeful or I just was picking up on it. But I realized that who I am now isn't who I was then. And that has a lot to do with who I'm attracting into my life. And I'm really not attracting anybody into my life. So I really thought about what I learned at this conference, the personal development that I've been doing, because when you drive from California to Texas, which is 2,100 miles, you have lots of time on your hand. So I spent a lot of time listening to some of my Tony Robbins programs, podcasts, books, different things, and it got my mind going. I'm a very self-reflective person, but I thought, what can I do to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen? And I spent some time with a friend in Dallas right before I headed back to California. And as we were talking and I was explaining the things that I used to do to grow my business, to grow my confidence, to attract the right people, I realized that I've stopped doing it. And as I was driving home, I was thinking, when was that point? And I remember some changes within our business, within our team that were kind of setbacks. I had stopped drinking. My whole life had changed. But when I started watching Netflix, that's when it happened. I'm not going to blame Netflix for everything, but that's when it happened. And so momentum can happen negatively and positively. And so when you're not doing the right things, the momentum picks up to do the wrong thing. And so I am committed to getting that ball moving in the right direction. And so what I've found is that I need to set my intentions. I need to be publicly accountable. I need to know where I'm going. Because if you don't know where you're going and if you don't have an outcome, you're not going to do it. And on your hardest days, emotions are going to get in the way and you're not going to do the thing you need to do. But I want to feel successful again. I know that I have what it takes to be successful. I do know in my hardest heart that everything that I did before still works. Maybe you might have to tweak it a little bit differently because the world in 2019 is a lot different than 2012. But I know I have what it takes. And I've been living in this mediocre mindset, which is exactly where I was when I started this journey in 2012. But I have justified myself I'm way better than that person in 2012. I'm still at the top of my company, but I'm not where I could be. I'm not helping as many people as I could be. My message is not being shared the way it should be and the way it could be. And so I thought, what can I do to make sure that I safeguard my time, get to be productive, to get back to where I want to be and where my team deserves me to be and my family deserves me to be. So the first thing I did when I got home last night is I deleted all of my apps that would lead to me binging. So Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, all the CBS, NBC, I had all those apps. I deleted all those apps. And so that was a step in the right direction. And then also, my husband and I decided and we implemented it starting last night, no phone in the bedroom, because years ago we didn't have phones in the bedroom, and now I found that we would just get in bed, give each other a kiss goodnight, but both of us would be staring at our phones. My husband would be the first one to go to sleep, and then I would stay up, and I have this ability to stay up for a long time. I was that annoying kid at summer parties, like, stay awake, even though I was tired. And so that happens with Netflix is, it's so easy to click next episode, skip intro. And that is affecting my sleep. It would play and play and play, and it would wake me up when the episodes kept rolling after I fell asleep. It would wake my husband up. And then on top of it, when you're not getting that good sleep, you feel tired. When you feel tired, you don't feel motivated. When you feel tired, you're more likely to eat shitty foods because you're looking for that high and looking for that burst of energy from carbs, from chocolate, from soda, all these different things. And so I'm looking at where do I need to be? What's standing in the way? How can I get rid of it? So the phones are out of the bedroom. I went to sleep last night. I was asleep around 10, my Fitbit said 10:30 to 7. I woke up. I'm not going to say I feel refreshed because I just drove 2,000 miles. I was totally out of my element for 30 some odd days, but I know that with anything, repetition is going to help me build this habit that I know without a doubt is going to make a positive impact on my life. So there you have it. This is something that I'm doing to try to rid myself of getting overwhelmed and just taking some of the things that I learned and implementing it. And so what I want to do is have a fresh mind every morning. I want to feel focused. I want to feel energized. And so I have written out my perfect morning of from the time I get up and when I get up until midday. And so I know where I'm going so that I don't have any question, because that's been a problem. And now that we're on the West Coast, I realize it's a big problem, because when I roll out of bed at 8:30 or 9, my people in Texas and my East Coast people, they've already been up half the day. And so that's a problem. So, and then if I get a late start, then I feel like I have to do all the stuff for my business operations in the evening, which takes from my family, and that just leaves guilt. So I took the time to focus on what I want, where I want to be, where I'm trying to go, and what needs to happen to get there, as well as what's standing in the way. So I thought I'd share that with you. And, ask yourself, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling stressed out, if you find yourself all the time saying, I don't have time, look at the things that are stealing your time, because either way, you will make the time for it. I remembered when I started my business years ago, I was so addicted to the personal growth aspect of it. I was just wanting to learn. And I was telling everybody, I don't watch TV. I used to watch football all the time. I stopped watching football because I loved the growth. I loved helping people. And if you study any successful people, none of them have watched every episode and every show on Netflix. And none of the successful people have watched every movie in the theater or out in Redbox. And that was me. And I've been complaining about where my life's at, about the people or the lack of people in my life. And, I was just, pouring myself into fictitious, people and scenarios, and I was just getting lost in that because it was easy, it was predictable, it was fun, and I wasn't really living. So that is something that was a big eye-opener, is that back in the day when I felt like I was on top of my game, when I was running shit, when I was super fucking confident, I was always any spare moment, washing dishes, folding clothes, driving, anything, I always had something that was, strengthening my mind. So once I identified that, hey, that's an activity that I stopped doing, and you always need maintenance in anything. It doesn't just happen and stay. You have to maintain it. But I implemented it right away, because that's the problem with people nowadays. They absorb or try to absorb too much information, and then they are just carriers of knowledge, and they don't actually put it into work. So as soon as I got in the car and I was headed this way back to California, I started listening to personal development nonstop. And there was a couple times I put music on, but I was focused on that personal growth because of that's what's going to make me grow. And then I thought too, what's held me back in my business? And I found myself saying a lot of times like, well, I could do this or I should do this, but I don't know how. Well, everything, like my friend Melanie Mitro said, is figure outable. And so I know some things that I want to do and implement in my business. And so what I decided to do is to look for podcasts on this, because the thing is, if you want to do something, there's somebody out there who's done it and you can learn from them. Your mentor doesn't have to be somebody that you spend time, right next to physically, and they don't have to be even somebody you know, but you can just find a mentor that's going to help you get to where you want to be and help you go further. And so that is what I am doing, and I just hope that you will stay along with this journey and see where I'm going. I'm going to share with you and sporadically how I'm feeling and what changes I've made now that my sleep schedule is definitely going to improve with not having the phone in the bedroom.